So I got Conan Gray with me. Dude, I have to tell you this. So at the end of last year, I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw one from you that was like, I'm not going to post an end of the year recap because this was straight up the worst year of my life. And I just remember in that moment, I was like going through a tough time too. And I was like, that was so relatable.
Yeah, I mean, that's very valid. Yeah, last year was literally the worst year of my life.
So like status report of 2024, we're about 3 months in. How's it been so far?
It's been better.
Oh,
I
good.
can't say it's been easier, but it's been better.
Okay.
Like life has been better. It's been really like busy. But like there was this trend like the year before with my song Memories, where people do like my year in memories, and I'm like, whoa, like I do not want to remember.
Yeah, you're like, that's not what I had intended.
No,
for
thank
that.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about like a peak and a low for the year so far? Like, what's been your highest point for the first couple of weeks so far? And maybe we'll just keep the highest point.
Honestly, today has been the highest point of the year.
Really? The new song out?
New song out. My tour is like officially on sale today, and everything's just been really happy. I can't wait to be back on tour because I'm sick of being home. I hate being home. I go crazy.
Really?
Oh my, I lose my mind.
So what does like home Conan consist of? Like, what are you doing when you're not in hustle mode for music?
Truthfully, Fortnite.
Really? No way.
Yeah, do you play
Are you
Fortnite?
a gamer?
Yeah, I'm a gamer.
Way, I didn't know that.
You're not. Oh wait, I'm not allowed to curse, aren't I?
Oh, yeah, no, you're fine.
This
ain't
I
live.
heard
No,
I'm
you're
not
chilling.
allowed to curse.
Yeah, we can edit most of that out anyway.
Yeah, no, I love Fortnite. Do you play Fortnite?
I do, yeah.
Okay, there's a new season.
Yes, that's
There's a
right.
new
It just
season.
came out, right?
Yeah, like literally yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely charging my Switch up right now.
That's crazy.
Fortnite, and then like I mean truthfully I also like just write songs nonstop. It's my like writing songs is not considered work to me. Like it's my fun time,
Right.
and then everything else like this is work.
So can you turn the songwriting off? Like, are you just always in songwriting mode?
Yeah, always.
Really?
But it's fun for me. Like it's what I do. It's how I process my emotions. So it's always on. I don't mind it always being on though.
So I want to talk about the new song, Alley Rose, because, I mean, I'm sure you go into a lot of these interviews and people are like, oh, I love the new song. No, this song, like, genuinely, dude, was my favorite thing to come out this week.
Thanks.
This was such an awesome release here. And I feel like I got so many different feelings from it. It feels so, like, anthemic. It feels like it's a blast from the past, kind of, you know? So, like, what went into the idea of this song? Like, where did it come from?
So I wrote the song in London, and I'd just been dumped, and I was like in London, and London's like a very like it's a good place to be heartbroken. You know, it's like cold and rainy, and you're like, "Arr."
It fits the vibe.
You're like the Beatles and Elton John. Rah, rah, I'm so angry. And so I was like, yeah, I didn't really know what to do with myself, so I wrote a song, and then it was Alley Rose, but it was originally called. The original song went, "Oh, where'd you go, Abbey Road?" Because it was like I was writing it about London, about like being in London. But I was like, I probably shouldn't name.
The Beatles kind of.
And the Beatles kind of took that.
Yeah.
I heard that there's a pretty good album called Abbey Road, so I was like, oh, I should switch this into something that's like it sounds more like a random name or something, just so it. But yeah, Alley Rose it's my favorite on the album, and I'm really happy that it's out.
So it really is your favorite on the album so far?
Yeah, it's always like without fail, without me even trying, it's always the last song that I write for an album that ends up being my favorite.
Really?
It always ends up being the best, low key, and it always ends up being my favorite and also like the fan favorite, because when I wrote my first album, the last song that I wrote was Heather.
Yeah.
And then when I wrote my second album, the last song that I wrote was Memories. And then for this one, it was Alley Rose. So I always like have a special place in my heart for that last song.
So what is that, do you think? Do you think it's wrapping a bow on everything you have to say in that album? Like, why? What do you think it is about the last song?
I think it's two things. I think one, you kind of, like you write and write until you feel like you wrote a song good enough to finish the album. You're like, okay, like I did, that's good enough. That's good enough. But also I think in order for me personally, in order for me to write like a really, really good song, I need perspective. Like I need some space from the situation to figure out how I feel about it. I need to like not be too angry and not too sad. I need just kind of like actually be able to objectively look at something in order for me to get the right vibe.
And I feel like you've had so much to reflect on over this last year. There's also a weird part too, like, so obviously you do some research before an artist comes in, and I always feel weird about doing that because you come in, we're meeting for the first time, and I'm like, oh, I know you went through the worst breakup of your life. I hate that I know that, but I do, you know?
Yeah.
And I was curious, though, when you look back at other songs that maybe used to be your favorite, like Heather, do you look back at those songs now that you have this real heartbreak experience and be like, oh, man, this guy was he didn't even know what was coming?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I always look back at old songs and like kind of like you know when you like look at a baby photo of yourself, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, like that's kind of how I look at. I mean, I've been writing songs since I was 11, so like I have songs from so many stages of my life, and I look back at like a song like Heather, and I'm like, that's how I felt at that time,
Yeah.
and like I really felt that was like the most love and the most pain I could feel, and then then you grow and you learn and you experience things. So like I look back at every song from then and I just smile. It makes me happy. Also like those songs like Heather, like memories, like they changed my life. So
Yeah.
also I have all these memories attached to them where like I think about going on tour and being able to sing these songs with people. Like they become very happy memories to me.
Is it difficult when you go on a lot of these promo runs and you're talking to so many people about the music, and then you kind of have to in some way relive some of the hardest moments of your life? Like you're talking about, unfortunately, the breakup sometimes, and sometimes I feel bad bringing that up. Like, are you at a space where it's easier to talk about now?
It's interesting. I mean, it's really awkward because like you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about like these songs and like there's a lot of like talking about like the story of a song and explaining what a song means, but then there's also like your own, like my actual memories and my actual brain and with like an actual human being on the other end of it. So it is like really like it's this combination of like kind of depersonalizing where I'm like, yeah, this didn't even happen anymore. I've talked about it so many times it doesn't even feel real.
Yeah.
But then also like you like run into someone or you like see and you're like, oh whoa, wait, no, like this is really real and
It
this
hits
is
you
and I like it's all a very strange experience. It's not very human. This is not normal at all in the slightest. And we can like like I try to just like remind myself like, oh, like there's a difference between like what I say versus like what actually happens as well. Like you kind of have to like take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean, to a lesser degree. Like I remember, for example, the last time I went through a breakup, and when people in your friend group hear you've broken up, you got to tell the same story over and over again.
Exactly.
And then you get to a point where it doesn't even feel like it's like it feels like you are telling a story, even though it's not something that happened to you.
Yeah, exactly. It starts to feel like I'm telling a made up story. And then I think back and I'm like, whoa, wait, that like actually happened.
Yeah,
like,
that was real
believe-
pain.
And I think maybe that's just part of processing emotions. You just like talk about it enough times to where it doesn't feel so painful anymore. But it is weird to be reminded like, oh, wait, whoa, like this is all very real. And also like didn't happen that long ago, like it's just it's a weird thing writing songs and then like having to give them to people. Yeah.
So how many moments from this past year, both good and bad memories, are going to be on Found Heaven?
I think a lot. It's interesting. So obviously I went through my like first real breakup and stuff like that with this album, but I think people were expecting me to like write like a love album or like a breakup album, but it's not that at all. This album is my like crush album where I was like developing or understanding that I'd had this crush on this person, that this person had a crush on me as well, and then like kind of the confusion around that.
Yeah.
And then also like there's like a few songs that are about the breakup, but not a ton because it takes me a while. It takes me about like a year after something to start writing like very true about what I experienced.
Are you someone who takes a few minutes to process your feelings like that? Because even being on the air sometimes, like something will happen and they'll ask me how I feel about it, and I'm like, I actually don't know in this moment.
I don't know
like,
yet. Yeah.
I need a few days to really think about it to know how I feel.
Yeah.
But it's the weirdest thing.
I don't have to know in the moment, and it's pretty I've noticed. Yeah, it takes me usually about like 6 months to a year before I can write like a really good song about something. Like it takes me a while.
Yeah, what do you think? Like, how do you know when you are ready to write a song about it? Does it just naturally flow out of you?
Yeah, I write like every day. So eventually the songs just start being like, oh wait, that actually feels like it's actually means something more true than the other ones did.
Yeah.
Or like there's new perspective, like sometimes you kind of just like, when you're just like talking you're like, wait, like, do I even believe the words I'm saying right now?
Yeah.
Like then I'll have moments where, whoa, like, this really hit me. Yeah.
So coming out of this year with a breakup like that, did you go through that stage where you're like, I'm done with love?
No. So, I mean, definitely there was a moment where I was like, whoa, like that was a lot. But there's nothing in me that regrets it or anything because I learned so much. My eyes were open to like a completely new side of myself and of like the world because of it all. Yeah. And I'd do it all again in a heartbeat, even though it was like it was a lot. But that's life, and
Yeah.
it's usually worth it to get your heart broken almost every time. Obviously, disregarding like truly horrible experiences, like it's always worth it to like put yourself out there and like get hurt or maybe hurt someone. You
Yeah.
can do that on accident as well, and then it's worth it because that's life. That's living life.
You actually answered my next question, because I always find it fascinating to ask someone who's been through a terrible breakup, because I reflect on ones that I've been through. And I wonder if you could go back and erase that from happening. Would you go back and do that?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, not at all. No. I'd do it like literally again right now. Just to like.
Isn't that crazy that we're so down for that sometimes? Like, it's just
know.
like feeling something is better than never feeling anything at all.
Oh, that's like the theme of this whole album is like feeling something is better than feeling nothing. Because I used to be someone who'd be like, feel nothing. Just go
I
and
try still
work
sometimes.
and write songs and like go on tour and don't feel anything. And now I'm like, whoa, like what a waste of life. It's so worth it to get your heart broken. It's so worth it.
I love the way you put that. What can you tell us about the rest of the album still to come?
I think I can tell you that it's definitely going to be a surprise. There's like a lot of twists and turns on the album, and it's a little bit of everything. But it's also very much me like having fun and experimenting. Like it's frankly, it's a weird album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what makes the best ones. So I'm so excited to hear it.
Thank you.
Dude, thank you for taking the time and coming in.
Thank you so much.